Hi, welcome everyone. I'm so glad that you guys are here on this Tuesday. Nikki, you found me right away. I'm so proud. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes. I'm so happy that you guys are here to paint with me today. I thought this would be a nice, fun, colorful one. This is a masterclass in blending today. If you want to follow along and get those nice blends going on from blue to red to yellow, or you can have a more textured background. It's totally up to you. I know some people will be using crayons. You can use markers, chalk, sponge paint, whatever you have around the house. We can give this a go. And if you're not using paint, a great tip for white is if you have whiteout or a whiteout pen, that could be really fun for the stars and the moon. Black Sharpie also works well if you don't have paints for those trees. So we'll get started in just a couple minutes, wait for some other folks to join us. I'm so happy you're here with me on this Tuesday of, this is March 31st, right? The last day of March. We are ready to have some fun and bring some color. Another gray day here in State College where I'm coming from. So make sure you have all your supplies, you got your snacks, you got your drinks, you got your grown-ups with you, if you need a grown-up. And we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Hey, Susanna, you're so welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. I can't wait to see your finished product. Hey, Charlene. Make sure I have my paper towels ready, my cup of water. So those of you who are just joining us, or those of you who are new, I will be using acrylics on canvas. If you don't have that laying around your house, that's totally fine. You can use paper and watercolor markers, crayons, those, what do you call it? Pastels. They have chalk pastels. I mean, there's something probably laying around your house somewhere. Ask the kids. The kids will show you the way. So yeah, anything you have around the house, we're going to make it work. We're going to make it happen. Whiteout is really great for stars if you don't have paint. If you have whiteout, Sharpie markers are great. And we're gonna make do with whatever we have. So for this painting, I've got in my plate, well, my plate is a mess currently, but I have black, white, and red, yellow, and blue. So the three primary colors in black and white are all we need for this painting. And that's what I'll be using. This is more than enough paint that I need to do this painting. I have not yet mastered the art of putting in just the right amount of paint on my plate here. So, all right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to be looking at the time closely today. I need to be done exactly at 3 o'clock. I'll be a guest lecturer from a colleague of mine at 3:05. So we're just going to make this work. And hello, Anya and Evan. I'm so glad you guys are here. Let's do this. This is a fun, colorful one. And we're gonna get a nice lesson here on blending, right? Yeah. Or so when I talk about the blending, we're gonna be going just back. You can probably see it, kind of the brush strokes here. We're just gonna be going back and forth, horizontal brush strokes all the way down. That's gonna help get us a nice blend going. If you want a more textured background, sometimes I say the swish and flick, so something more like this, that'll give you a nice textured background. This is totally up to you. This is going to be your fun painting. So let's give it a go. So we're going to start from the top. Now, kiddos who are watching, can you give a nice loud shout and tell your grown-up what color we're going to start with if we are starting at the top? What color are we starting with if we're starting from the top? Yes, we are going to start with blue. So I've got a nice big brush. I'm going to go into my blue paint here, and I'm just going to go back and forth at the top of my canvas. Back and forth, these long horizontal strokes. Let's see, now how far do we want to go down is the question. So I want to go down, right about here maybe. So 2 or 3 inches with my blue. Back and forth. Back and forth. This is a nice, relaxing painting today. Just back and forth with our brush strokes. Right? It's really, really helpful to have one of these wide, flat brushes. I hope you have one of those. If not, you can make anything work. One of those foam brushes would be really nice right now, or a sponge. You could even have a balled up piece of paper towel and kind of smudge across your painting right now. So I've got that started there. And now I want to blend some purple. So what color do I need to add to blue to make purple? Shout it out. What do I need to add to make purple? That's right, I got to add some red. So I'm going to dip into some red. I did not wash my brush. I don't need to, right? Just a little dab will do you. This is a little bit more than a smidgy smooch if we're going to be technical, okay? Yes, crayons and printer paper. That'll do. That'll do. All right, so I'm going to go back and forth with my red over top of that blue, right? And as I'm going back and forth, I'm going to start moving upwards slowly. So while I'm going back and forth with my brush, I'm moving my arm upwards towards the top. And this is going to help me grab some more of that blue at the top and then slowly bring it down. So I'm just going up and down, back and forth. Up and down, back and forth. And we have a very, very subtle, gradual blend. And now, because I've got blue happening beneath my purple, I want to grab some more red. Grab some more of that red and get that going in there. Back and forth, up and down. And the up and down part is really important, because if I end here in my purple and then go up into my blue, I might get too much purple up there. So if I start low, I have to slowly work my way up to high. And if I start high, I have to slowly work my way down to low. All right. I'm going to keep building my purple by adding some more red. Back and forth and up and down. Ooh, see, then we get some really cool things happening, because now there's more red added to the picture here, literally. Okay. And I'm just going to keep adding that red. And as I add more red, that blue is going to start to come out of my brush. And it's going to help add to purple, to make purple. Back and forth and up and down. Now, because I have a big old glop of that blue still in my brush, okay, I do want to wipe that off, because I want to make sure that the red paint has more of an impact. In other words, I want to make sure that red paint does not get tainted by the blue, literally. All right, so I'm just going to wipe off as much blue as I can. So now I can go back into the red, and I feel better that the red is going to show through more than the blue. But again, I have not yet rinsed my brush officially. back and forth and up and down. This is nice and relaxing. I hope it's relaxing for you guys too. Adding more red. Back and forth and up and down. We are getting our blend on today. So now I'm trying to think, okay, now I want more red because I want to be ready to make orange. And I don't want too much purpley blue happening because if I add yellow to make the orange, if I add yellow at this point, it's going to look a little muddy. So I really want to make sure I get out as much of that purple paint from my brush. If you want, you might want to get, yeah, actually, let's just give our brush a bath. Let's just be safe. Let's play it safe. And I wiped off my excess paint and I'm going to give my brush a nice bath. Let's get that nice and clean so we can get some pure red coming out of our brush. All right, that'll do. Put this over here. Get my paper towel, and I'm going to make sure that this brush, not only is it nice and clean, but I'm going to make sure it's nice and dry. Once I get water on my brush, and if it gets on the canvas, it's going to start cleaning my canvas instead of painting it. So I just want to make sure it's nice and clean and dry. Okay. Now I can go back into my red, and I'm confident that it's going to be nice and red and not purpley. Again, just going back and forth and up and down. Ooh, we are getting a nice blend going. Now, if you are thinking to yourself, I am not having a nice blend going, that's totally fine. You might have two sort of harsh colors right next to each other. If that's the case, then, so for right now, your harsh colors would be blue and red. So if you have blue and red right next to each other and it's not looking blendy, I would try getting off all the paint from your brush, giving it a good clean rinse, making it nice and dry, and then going into some red and doing that back and forth, up and down, up and down. Okay? That can help get your blend going. But again, this is your painting. Maybe you don't want blendy. Maybe you want big, beautiful blocks of color. And that's totally fine. All right. Now I want to start turning some of this red into orange. So kiddos, tell your grown-ups, what do we need to add to red to make orange? What do we need to add to red to make orange? Yep, yellow. So I don't have too much red left on my brush. I'm just going to wipe some of that off, but I'm going to go into my yellow paint. Red is pretty strong, so I'm not going to be too shy with this yellow paint here, right? Okay, I'm going to overlap that red. Back and forth and up and down. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Bring some of that down. Oh yeah. I am liking this blend. Back and forth and up and down. We got this. I got a bunch of red left over in my brush. I'm going to want to wipe that off. Again, the red is really powerful. So I want to make sure that I wipe that off before I go in with some more yellow. But I'm not going to worry about giving it a good clean rinse because I do like that yellowy. Oh, and I definitely brought down my red more in this current version, but that's totally fine. So now I've got some yellow overlapping that orange, back and forth and up and down. Right on top of that orangey red. Back and forth and up and down. We are getting our blend on today for sure. I want more yellow to start showing up at the bottom, so again, I'm just going to wipe that off to make sure that I can get some nice pure yellow. All right, just wiped off that excess paint. I'm going to grab some more yellow. And again, back and forth and up and down. And everybody's blendy is going to be different. Some of you are going to have a nice soft blend. Some of you might not, and that's totally fine. This is your painting. This is your sunset. It can be whatever you want it to be. And I'm going to finish up with a touch more yellow and bring this sunset down to the bottom here. Back and forth and up and down. Now, keep in mind, now that we have yellow on our brush, we don't want to go up into the blue, otherwise we're going to get muddy. We're going to turn things weird colors. So just keep it down in the warmer section here. How fun is that? Look at that. I'm so glad, Mary Ellen. Isn't that fun? Nice blendy. We got a nice blend happening. Awesome. All right. Now, some of you might need to be catching up, and that's totally fine. So when you're done, you're going to want to wipe off your brush of any excess paint. Again, my tip is always to wipe off as much paint on a paper towel before you rinse it off in your cup. It helps save the life of your brushes. So I'm just going to wipe off my brush here, get off as much of that paint as possible. And then give my brush a nice good clean rinse. I want to thank again. I want to thank everybody again for being here with me on this Tuesday. Brings me a lot of joy having you here with me, even though I can't see you. I love seeing the pictures that you post of your pictures. I'm a woman of many vocabulary words here. I love looking at what everybody comes up with, the materials you're using. It makes me so happy. Especially because it's been so long since I've seen my artists in person. Oh, it's making me crazy. I love watching you guys paint, but I do appreciate seeing your finished products at the end here. All right, so for our next trick, once we've got our background... Ah! Hola, ¿cómo estás? We are now going to, after we do our background, we're going to do our stars, okay? And kiddos, I'm going to need your help here. You're going to have to keep your grown-ups in line, okay? Because this can get a little messy. So some of you I know who are watching have done stars with me before. We're going to do it in 2 different ways. Okay, we're going to do it in 2 different ways. The first way is super simple. What I'm going to do is just take the back end. You can actually see how, whoops, you can probably see how full of paint this is. This is just all white. The end of this brush is white from all my star making. Okay, so, and clearly I just haven't even taken this off yet. But anyway, so I'm just going to use the back end of this here, and it's going to be like a stamp. And I'm just going to stamp stars on. So you don't need a lot of paint. I'm just going to kind of lightly touch the back end of my brush here into the white paint. And I can just go like this. And just stamp little stars. So that's one way of adding stars. And kiddos, if your grown-ups are a little messy, then you probably want to tell your grown-ups to do that one. Okay, this way of doing the stars. Okay, but that's certainly one way to do it. And you can control, you know, exactly where you want your stars to be, right? Okay, for the next method, you want to make sure that your good clothing, your good kitchen items, your pets are far, far away, because the next method could get stars kind of all over the place. Okay, I kind of have accepted that my living room and my cell phone and sometimes my cat has paint on it, and that's fine with me. Okay, but for our next step, it might get a little messy. And those of you who have done this with me before, you know that the consistency we're looking for is like heavy cream. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to dip it into my water just to get the bristles wet. Okay, we don't have to go crazy with a bunch of water here. Then with that brush that's wet, I can just smudge it next to my white paint, and just with that very little water, I can start to get like just a little puddle of really wet white paint. And it's going to be like heavy cream. That's what we're going for. Now, if you can, I highly recommend practicing this before you do it on your canvas, just to see the result. So if you end up doing this and your stars are really big and splashy, it's probably too wet. If there's nothing coming off your brush, you probably need a little bit more water. So I've got that heavy cream on my brush. I'm just going to hold out 2 fingers and you're just going to tap. Tap, 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 tap. And that's another way to get stars. Okay, I like doing it this way because you can really control the taps and where you're putting your hands. I don't recommend like swatting at your canvas like a magic wand. That's going to look more like splatter, and you might get like a line of drops. So that's my preferred way of doing those stars. Okay, I'm just going to go in again. Whoops. So I wet my brush in my cup and I'm just tapping next to my white paint here to get a little puddle of like heavy cream. And I can show you guys again. All right. Again, I'm just holding out 2 fingers. I don't know why 2, it just works. And just tapping, and you might have to tap really hard on your fingers. You'll have to just kind of figure out what works. All right, so then we've got some stars. How's that? That's super fun, right? I wish I could see what you guys are doing. It's so hard for me not to be able to see you guys. So I don't know, I just got a really good feeling that you guys just made awesome stars on your artwork right now. So again, if you're not using paint, maybe you have markers and crayons. Again, a whiteout works really well here. You can just kind of dot the whiteout everywhere. Or maybe you have stickers. Maybe you have those name tags, and you can use a hole punch and punch out little stickers with a hole punch on from a white name tag. Or you have those foil stars at home. I don't know. I'm sure you could think of something. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. So looking at the original painting, I do have some of these bigger stars with little, points coming out here. Okay, I want to show you how to do those. Those are really fun and simple too. So just with the same, whoops, I'm dropping brushes everywhere. Just with the same technique before with the stamper, I'm just going to go into my white paint with the back end of my brush, okay? And I'm going to pick where I want like a big starburst to be. And I'm going to still use the back of that brush, and I'm just going to pull out, let me see if I can bring this closer. I'm going to pull out little spikes like this. So again, that's just with the back end of a little brush. I can show you that again. Dipping into a little paint, you don't need a lot. I'm gonna stamp, I'll put another one over here, how about that? And from that center, I can pull out, just with the back end of that brush, pull out little starbursts. Okay, let's see, how many do I have in the original? I think I just had three big ones. Yeah, so you can have however many you like of those bigger starbursts. All right, let's put one over here. Why not? All right. How are we doing? This is a fun one, right, guys? So if any of you are absolutely terrified of doing the trees, you have a painting right now already, right? I mean, this would be really fun to hang up in a room somewhere, in a kid's room, or, right above the toilet, whatever you want. Okay, so this is a fun little painting already. And for me, for the moon, so let's look at the moon here. For me, in this area, I'm already dry over here, okay? So if you're dry, you can go ahead and paint in your crescent moon or your full moon, whatever moon you like, right? If you're not dry yet here, then I would hold off on your moon and do it later. If you've got acrylic paint, it should be drying fairly quickly. You can kind of give your canvas a nice little shake, or you can even just blow on it. Hair dryers work great. I highly recommend having a hair dryer around when you paint. Okay, so again, I'm dry over here, so I'm just going to go ahead and do my moon. All right, let's see. I have to look at my original to know what I'm doing here. All right, so I'm just gonna give my nice little crescent over here somewhere. All right, let's see. Let's put you right over here. I'm using a little brush and kind of short strokes here. So I can control sometimes I really impress myself with my circles, so that is not too bad. That's not too shabby. And I'm just going to do the other side. That actually reminds me of a math class I was having in middle school. It was geometry, and the teacher, you know, every day she was drawing circles on the board for whatever things we were studying at that time. And one day she drew a circle that was so perfect, we had to like stop class and look at it. She was so amazed with herself, and we were too. She was like, look at that. I can't believe I just did that. All right, so now I'm just going to thicken up this crescent moon here. Ooh, I kind of like that. So the great thing about this moon here is if you don't like it, you can make it thicker. You can make it bigger. You can go full moon. It's a very forgiving part of the painting. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to look exactly like mine. Mine will not look exactly like mine. So whatever you got works. And if you're drawing with crayons or markers, you can use the bottom of a cup to kind of trace, you know, part of the side. Don't go all the way around, and then move the cup over a smidge and you can trace it again and get a nice circle that way. Of course, she tells you this after you probably started. So I'm going to leave that coat to dry. I'm gonna give that another coat later once that first coat dries. Okay? All right. We are moving right along. Doing good with time here. Again, if you joined after I said this earlier, I'm kind of moving faster than I usually would because I do have to teach at 3:05. I'm covering for a colleague at Penn State. My day job is teaching English in the Department of Applied Linguistics, and I'm going to be a guest speaker for a guest lecturer for a colleague of mine, and I want to make sure that I can get that rolling at 3:05, and we're going to make it happen. The theme of this time is flexibility, right, guys? We are just being flexible, trying to go with the flow, and yeah, that's what we're doing. And that's what painting's about, right? Just going with the flow, being flexible, and just working with what we got. All right, I have washed my brush. I have just remembered to wipe off the end of it. Don't forget to wipe off the end of your brush. I often forget to do that, and then bad things happen. So I'm letting that first coat of the moon, I'm going to let that go and have it dry before I move on. So now we're going to work on some trees, right? So we want to use whatever brush we feel good about making fine lines with. If you're working with crayons or something else, a Sharpie works really well. Especially if you have a big, thick Sharpie, you can start working on the big trunks, and then you can, if you have the smaller, finer Sharpies, those are great. So I'm going to start with my big brush so I can get down the trunks of the trees here. And by the way, in case you know anybody who would love to paint along with us but missed it today or can't join us at 2 o'clock, these videos do get saved automatically on Facebook, and you can just go to Paint with Jackie on the Facebook page and they can watch the video when they can. I love getting messages from people who they show me pictures and they set up their internet through their TV, and they sit around at night and they paint along. So you can certainly do that if you can't join me live. All right, so let's do some trees. I'm going to start with my big brush. If you've painted with me before, you know that I like using the big brush because I can get a nice edge, especially with this angled brush. The angled brush makes life much easier. But I'm going to go into my black paint, and with that black paint, I move my brush back and forth on my plate here, or whatever I've got going on, okay? And I can get a nice edge here, right? I want a nice edge. And I'm gonna start with this big tree, this big boss tree on the right here, okay? And what I liked about this painting was kind of how gnarly and wild the trees looked, right? They weren't like perfect, they weren't straight, and that's what I really liked about this. So yeah. I'm going to start somewhere at the top here, let's say. And again, sound effects really help with the trees here, especially the tree trunks. I'm going to just press down and then pull. Shunk. Something like that. And that's kind of my guide, right? All right. All right. By the way, if you're thinking, oh, Jackie, you forgot about the clouds in the original painting, you would be right. I forgot about them. But actually, I didn't, because they are the last thing that we're going to do, because we want them to go in front of the stars, right? We don't want to put stars on top of clouds. At least in my world, that would mean the clouds are farther away than the stars, and then my brain would hurt. So the clouds are going to go on last, and I'll show you how to do that. All right. So I've got my first line down here for my trunk, and I'm just gonna kind of wiggle my brush around to fill out this really gnarly, imperfect tree. He's got like lumps and bumps, don't we all? All right, so that's kind of the main trunk and branch there. Okay. Now I'm gonna add some branches on the sides. Just kind of wherever the spirit moves me, right? Something goes over there, why not? And then later I can move to a smaller brush to kind of get some of those details happening. But for now I'm just kind of adding these branches wherever I want them. All right. This is your world. This is your tree. Your tree can be whatever you want it to be. Maybe you want more curly-Q type branches, straighter type branches. Whatever you want works. Especially with this type of painting where you have a nice, bright, colorful background. Really, any kind of black silhouette is going to work. See, now I can't help myself. I can't help putting on the smaller ones. But so that's kind of like my base. And now I'm going to start adding my other trees here. I've got this little guy over here, this little guy in the middle, and then like two minis in between. But you can have as many or as few trees as you like. So how about we put one right here, a gnarly tree with a branch. All right, here we go. And I am looking at the time here, so I am moving a little bit faster than I would like. But like I said, I have another class to teach at 3:05. And between you and me, it's not going to be nearly as fun as this. Painting is much more fun to teach. Oh, guys, I hope you're having fun, because I'm having fun right now. I am having fun with this one. And I hope you're enjoying it, getting some color in your Tuesday, March 31st. It's the last day of March, y'all. There's got to be something positive about that, right? So I like to just add as many branches as I can with my big brush before I move to the little one. again, with that big brush, the big brush with the angle, I can just keep moving. Oh, I got a ton of paint on that brush. And I'm gonna wipe some of that off. But if you have that big angled brush, that's gonna help you with getting a nice fine edge. But having a big old glop of paint on there is not gonna help, so I'm just gonna wipe that off, and now I can get it back to my nice clean edge there. Another tip, if you're having trouble with the fine lines in black with your acrylic paint, just a little touch of water will help to thin it out, and that can help get you a bit more fine line, a smoother kind of paint. Let's see, other little main branches here, little guy over here. I have a little guy coming out here. This guy lives over here, and this guy lives over here. Whenever I do branches, I just kind of get in the zone and I stop talking, which you're probably thinking, good. Fun. This is a fun one. All right. I think I'm gonna move on to my little brush here. I can show you what that looks like. I want a bigger one over here. How about that? Of course, I say I'm gonna move on to my small one, and then I just keep going with the big one here. Okay, so I'm going to wipe off excess paint from my big brush. I'm going to give that a good clean rinse, and I'm going to go right into my smaller brush. Going in the smaller brush. Okay. For my smaller brush, I'm going to use a round brush. So the other one was a flat brush, and the round brush, in other words, the metal opening on the brush is round. Okay, and that helps us get a nice point. I am going to dip this into water. That will help me get a better point as well. And I'm going to dip that into my black paint. Try to get a nice tip. And again, a little bit of water will help make this a bit inky. And then I can just, and I like kind of making little crooked little branches, because these are old gnarly trees. They've been here a while, and they're just got like knuckles and joints. Yeah, I like that. I like it when they're kind of crooked and gnarly. I hope y'all are doing well out there. At this point, if I were teaching a live class, I'd probably say something like, y'all are quiet, you must be concentrating real hard. I bet you that's what you're doing right now. And I bet you you're all doing an awesome job. I cannot wait to see pictures. So please, when we're all done here today, please post your photos in the comments or somewhere on the Paint with Jackie page. I will show you the picture again, Nikki. So this is the final product. I'm showing this here for Nikki here. She's asking to see the picture again. But yeah, please take a picture of your paintings or your artwork, whatever your drawings, and post them on the Paint with Jackie Facebook page or add them to the comment section here. I love, love, love looking at your artwork. It makes me so, so happy, especially since I can't see you guys right now. All right, you got it, Nikki? All right. Some more branches. Adding some branches. Just kind of wherever we want them, right? Ooh, don't knock it over. Okay. I don't know, guys. I think I'm feeling this one. I don't know if I need to add any more. I mean, I could add more. But I do want to show you those clouds before I need to leave. Nikki, did you get, I showed you the picture earlier. Did you see it? All right. All right. I hope that didn't get interrupted as a text message came in. Okay, so we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna do the clouds and give us a minute to sit. Maybe you're catching up with your branches, but I'm gonna move on to the clouds so we can wrap this up. I just can't help myself though. I just want to add more branches. Just can't help it. So y'all might be catching up on your tree branches or your trees. Oh, I know what we can do. I'm gonna give my moon another coat of white. So let me do that. Where is my little guy brush? My little guy brush. So my moon is nice and dry now. I'm just gonna give that another coat so that can get really nice and bright and white. Yeah, I like that. That just got nice and bright and shiny. Oops. Almost had a mess up there. Awesome. Nice and bright moon. Cool. All right. I'm going to wipe off my excess paint from my little brush. I'm just going to use this little flat angled brush for my clouds. You can use any brush will work. This will give you the easiest time with the clouds. So I'm just going to wipe off that excess paint and give that brush a good clean rinse. All right, so for these clouds, I'm going to mix a purple, a dark purple, okay? This purple has a bit more blue in it. This purple has a bit more red in it, okay? I don't know if you can tell that. If I used this color cloud down here, it would be really, really dark, okay? And this one is also more blue than red. So I've got this little brush here, and I'm going to mix. I'm going to tap into red. No, that was blue. I'm going to tap into blue and tap into red and just get a purple going. And for me, this is going to be a more bluish purple than red. All right, and I'm not going to have a lot of paint on my brush, so I'm going to wipe off quite a bit of it. Okay, and then holding my brush like I would sign my name, okay, I'm going to hold the bristles perpendicular to my canvas, so like this. That's perpendicular, right? I hope you can see that. I'm holding my bristles perpendicular, and I'm just going to kind of pretend like I'm writing in cursive. Okay? And something like that happens. So I pretend like I'm writing in cursive. Grown-ups, you might have to tell your kiddos what that is. Just little squigglies, right? Now, as I move lower in the sky, because as we move lower in the sky, we have more red there, I'm going to take that same purple and I'm going to add a little smidgy smooch of red to make it a bit more reddish purple. Same idea. Hold my brush perpendicular and just pretend like I'm writing in cursive. Squiggle, squiggle, squiggles. Big fluffy clouds. Okay? If I want a cloud here, this part of the sky has more red in it than that one, so I'm going to add a little bit of red to what I already have. And now I have a more reddish purple. To go over here. Swirlies. Swirlies. Yeah. And we get something like that. So each cloud kind of matches the tone of the sky that it's on. So this cloud had more bluish purple, and this cloud would be more reddish purple. Okay? That's how I did it in the original. You don't have to do it that way. But for example, if I put this dark blue purple down here, it would be really, really gracias. Yeah, I hope they're easy. Yeah. There. I can't wait to see pictures. I cannot wait to see pictures. Let me do another demo of the clouds. Okay. Let's do it on the back of this paper here. So again, I'm perpendicular to my canvas or my paper, and I'm just kind of squiggling, pretending to write in cursive. Just swirly, swirly, swirly. Something like that. Right? Easy clouds. As Christy says, es fácil hacer las nubes. Yeah. It's easy to make the clouds, she says. Ta-da! And then we can make different. I'm going to add more blue there. You can just get fluffy here. Isn't that fun? Ooh, this would be a fun one just to do on like a white canvas. Just a bunch of different colored clouds. Ooh, that would be fun, guys. Everybody has white paper at home, so just like a bunch of different color clouds on paper, right? That would be fun. All right, everyone. This was fun. I say that every time, but seriously, it's so much fun. It's so much fun to paint with you guys, especially during this time. I really appreciate you all being here. I wish I could see you. I wish I could be there with you and see all of your awesome work. It means so much for me, for you to be here. I will be on the Jana Marie Facebook page on Thursday at 2 o'clock. Okay, and I'll post that on my own Paint with Jackie page just so you know. So I will be online again on Thursday, 2 p.m. on the Jana Marie Facebook page. I'll be sure to post something there. Gracias a Cristi Alvarado de Mexico. Gracias. I'm so glad that you were here. Mucho gusto. And I will sit here for another minute or two in case you all need to see the finished product. Again, big thanks for being here. I had a great time. I hope you added some color to your day. Tomorrow is a new day and a new month, and I hope we all continue to be well and be healthy, stay safe. And I will be on the Jana Marie Foundation Facebook page at 2 o'clock for their wellness break. I can't wait to see photos of your artwork. They bring me so much joy. You have no idea, especially these days. So I really, really appreciate you guys being here. I look forward to it, and I look forward to seeing your artwork. And this is Jackie from Paint with Jackie, and I will see you Thursday at the Jana Marie Foundation page. Thanks, guys. Be well.